Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this session, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to Sis Nobantu. This beautiful introduction. She's the daughter of the soil. Space is her university. The mountains and the rivers are her companions. The animals are her family. And she gets her strength and her nourishment from the plants and lives by the spirit of Ubuntu. So I'm going to hand it over now to Sis Nobantu, who will be talking with Coach Lumi, who is also a fellow Ubuntu coaching practitioner. Very excited for the session today. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you very much, Tracy.
Thank you.
Sanibonani Nonke. Hello, everyone. This is Nobantu. Sanibonani, everyone. Sanibonani is a greeting from South Africa in Zulu. It means, I see you. I see your ancestors. I see whoever contributed to who you are. I see your strengths. I see your struggles. I see your hopes, your dreams, and your aspiration. Namaste. In this sharing tonight, Dumi and I are going to explore indigenous wisdom. And we're going to explore how indigenous wisdom has been encompassing emotional intelligence for time immemorial. And we want to see how this indigenous wisdom we can draw from as leaders and bring the heart to how we lead people, bring our souls, our spirits, our true nature, such that those we lead and we work with may be fully who they were destined to be. So in this offering that we have today, we will have the conversation for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, I will share some music to get us into being ready to share our reflections, and also for a question and answer session. And then after that, I would like to take you through a journey, an embodied journey of how we can use the animals, we can use nature to be able to help us with what we are dealing with, which is part of being in the universe and being with the universe and nature. So to start off, I'd just like to reflect on emotional intelligence. And I laugh at times, you hear people saying, no, at work, leave your emotions out of the door. How can I do that? Because emotions are part of me. When I am there fully with my emotions, that's a sign that I'm alive, I'm breathing. So if I'm taking this and taking Daniel Goleman 4 quadrants of emotional intelligence and linking this to our indigenous knowledge, I'd like to first look at a proverb from Egypt. This is based on spirituality. And this proverb says, man, know thyself. That has been there for decades, for centuries. And this is the cornerstone of emotional intelligence, because by knowing who we are, then we are able to become, we're able to understand others' emotions, my strengths, my dreams, my hopes, and be able to know, how am I grounded? If I'm taking this self-knowledge to my culture, the Xhosa culture. Within the Xhosa culture, we have clan names that are based in different families and which link and connect different families with different surnames through this clan name. And with each clan name, we have animals as our totems. So it's grounding within the family, within the lineage, and within that, knowing that there's a totem, that's an animal that helps you to know who you are. This helps a lot in terms of promoting a belonging and also helping for the children to carry over the lineage and the culture of their families. And if I take this further, we look at within this, who am I? We then are taken as children to nature such that we always connect to nature and we don't feel alienated or not to belong to nature. If then I take the next emotional intelligence quadrant, which is self-management. How then, when I recognize these emotions in me, when I get churned, whether I get overly excited or I get angry, I'm able to exercise emotional self-control, which research proves that emotional self-control is one of the competencies that as leaders we have to internalize and inculcate. There's a proverb that says, if you get rich, be in a dark corner when you jump for joy. So what this is saying is that even if we have positive emotions, it's unbecoming to be overly attached to that joy, because then when things change, it will be easy to be averse to the other side. How then does this help you to become, to encompass this, while still you are celebrating this success and jumping for joy? And in Xhosa, we say we have to be mindful of our words. Whenever we grow up, there's an emphasis that words create and words can destroy. So this then helps to inculcate the right intention and be able to help us to take the right action, whatever is happening, because we grow up with the knowing and the teaching that right speech or wise speech is what builds relationship. Because as African people, we are more grounded in the we than in the I. And as such, through this grounding in the we, you would find that most African people, when you come to their homes, they'll give you the last slice of bread and would rather go hungry. Because it's like, how do you open up? How do you recognize what's in the other such that you are able to know what the other needs, and therefore you can be able to give what is actually needed by that other person? So I find this grounding brings a lot of calmness. There's a lot of pausing in between. And with this, I would like to highlight a quote from Viktor Frankl, which is a very good quotation that talks to this wisdom, and it talks as well to self-management. He says, I quote, "Between a stimulus and a response, there is a space. In that space lies the opportunity to choose. In choosing lies our growth and freedom." So with this pausing and with these teachings being inculcated at a young age, you find that when we are about to take speed, pausing, slowing down helps us as the African people in order to gather speed. Another proverb I'd like to share with you is the proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So that is for me, mainly the self component of emotional intelligence. And if I take this further now into self-motivation, there's a Somali proverb that says, who does not seize opportunity today will be unable to seize tomorrow's opportunity. And another one, which is motivating within self-management, if you want to move mountains tomorrow, you must start by lifting stones today.
Wow.
And within this one, I'd like, I see Toby, you are hot to come in. I'd just like to share a story, quick story of a Kenyan mother. This Kenyan mother had lost her husband to war. And the son then must have been maybe around 10 years of age. And the son would come to the mother and say, Mama, 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 I'd like to also be a soldier like Baba. And then this wise mother said, where they were staying, there was a big boulder in the establishment, in the compound. And then the mother said, okay, my son, you want to be part of the army? What your father used to do every morning was to go and push that boulder. So the son did as he was told by the mother. Every morning without fail, he would go to the big boulder, push and push and push, and the boulder would not move. And then he would go and say, Mama, Mama, I've been doing this boulder is not moving. But amazingly, this young man who was now getting into being now an adolescent noticed that the muscles are starting to bulge. And when it was time to enlist for being a soldier, he was the one to be counted, to be enlisted. So, Dumi, I saw you wanted to come in there.
Yes, Nobantu, I wanted to ask you a question triggered by what you say. I love how you've integrated Daniel Goleman's quadrants on the individual side, self-awareness and self-management with the principles of indigenous African knowledge, especially from the Nguni part, which is Southern Africa, My question to Sis Nobantu on the self-management side, how do we see others as an individual, as a person? How do I view, perceive, or see and relate to the other? Because in the Western way, there's the individual. I'm the most important thing in the world. In the African sense, that part in self-managing, how do we see that? And some reflections and thoughts on that.
Thank you for that, Tumi. As you know, because you are African too, you're the son of the soil. As Africans, we grow up with the we. I cannot be fully me if you are not fully you. I cannot fully exist without you fully existing. Hence, I said earlier on, you would find that even if I have the last slice of bread, I would give that up for the other. And as such, you would find that it's easier for people of African descent not to separate themselves from other human beings. There isn't a lot of othering the us and them, because I am, because we are, which is the spirit of Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Your successes are my successes. Your pains and grief is my grief. Hence, you know that when there is a bereavement in a family, all the other families would stop everything such that they can go and support that family, provide food for that family, and also tender to whatever needs that family might require.
Wow. Ubuntu, I am because we are.
Yes. Which actually, I like this question. It's actually at the right moment, because what I wanted to reflect on now is the emotional intelligence competency, which is empathy, and which actually encompasses Ubuntu. Because within the Ubuntu concept, I'm able to read what the other needs, and as such, the ability to be able to provide what is needed. And then if you look at this Ubuntu and link it to leadership, that's where as leaders, we need to really see, who are we leading? Do we know the people we lead, or we just see numbers? Sawubona. Do you really see the people that you work with? Can you be able to be that catalyst for the people that you work with to become? And also within the Ubuntu as leaders, we need to listen more, hear more what the people are saying. We need to love more the people who work with. I always say as leaders, the love is not just for home. Take love because it's in your heart wherever you go. How do you, when you see people in your organization, think about the first time you fell in love? Can you just allow yourself to have those butterflies and see these people and be more, be present each moment to what is happening with the people?
But Sis Nobantu, that may mean I have to greet everyone I meet, and I've got meetings and I'm busy.
Julie? How long does it take to greet? You know, it's amazing because it's so ingrained in us to see people that even when I'm jogging in my neighborhood, I really have to see people and greet people.
Yeah.
And now I find that people open up.
Yeah.
There's this saying in Africa that says, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And another one I like, it says, if a village does not care for its child or its children,
Yeah.
the child will burn the village
Down.
to fear.
Yeah.
Its life.
Yeah. Wow.
So in terms of social awareness, I would like to reflect on that, and also on a Swahili proverb that says, concern is like medicine. And on this as well, there's an amazing story that never ceases me to amaze me. It's a story about the Mapemba tribe of Zambia. What I've found in this tribe, they apply appreciative leadership. What happens here is that if there is someone who is a menace to the society, someone who is ever, bringing up trouble or a problem, what this tribe does is to have a feast, and then the villagers would come together. The villagers would form a circle, and this person who's deemed to be a menace to the village is placed in the center of the circle. And each and every member of the village shares with the person what they appreciate in that person, what good deeds the person has done, what is it that have they learned from that person. So if you're looking at this relates to systems thinking, where you look for what is happening or what is well in a system rather than focusing on the negative. And it's also appreciative leadership, because then you find that through that, then this person, through being told how good they are, in fact, being told the good deeds, because each and every person has got both the good and not the so good side, then the person changes for the better. So we can learn a lot from that as leaders. Anything from your side, Dumi?
I love that. There's something from the chat. Vivek says, catch them doing the right thing rather than focusing on negative. It's similar to that self-fulfilling prophecy. When you heighten what's going well, the Pemba example you gave is beautiful for organizations, that you can show gratitude and appreciation to someone that you may see them slowing down. Heighten their good qualities and see what happens, because we live for that as humans. It's in our nature to be good unless we're really sick. So,
and
beautiful.
with this, this makes me think about Margaret Mead. Yeah. When Margaret Mead was interviewed by one of her students and asked, where are the roots of civilization? And the students thought that she would talk about artifacts that were discovered somewhere and all that. Yeah. And she said, civilization started when the femur, that is the thigh bone, a broken femur, when it heals in the animal kingdom. Because when we were gatherers, and with the animals, if you had a broken femur, you were dead meat.
Yeah.
You wouldn't survive. You would be meat and lunch and dinner for prowlers and predators. And what really amazed Margaret Mead was when she realized that there have been femurs, broken femurs, that healed. And for her, that meant the start of civilization, because that meant that there would be somebody who tenders to that animal, that person who had a broken femur, someone who would help the person to heal, someone who would ensure that the person is taken to safety, someone who will be able to get water or the person or animal close to a place of water. What's more of Ubuntu can you learn from?
Absolutely. So when civilization starts and grows and increases, when we are there for each other. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. Like right now, to me, during this time of this pandemic, we find that this is the time that actually we are getting in touch with civilization more than from technological advancement.
Yeah.
By caring, by having compassion for each other and knowing what each other needs in these trying times.
And using this technology to connect across continents, right? Exactly. Like that. And connecting, seeing each other. What you said at the beginning, Sawubona, we're seeing each other through the technology, through the virus, with the virus among us. Yeah. Wow.
Exactly. And lastly, just to reflect on relationship management.
Yes.
I'd like to cite a Malawian proverb that says, wherever you travel, leave behind your feet and not your lips, because the lips will come back to haunt you. And then just on a practice that is practiced in South Africa for relationship management, we have what we call ilima. And ilima is during planting seasons and harvesting seasons, where with people having their own fields, instead of people just focusing on planting their own fields, there would be ilima where the whole village would go and plant that field and move together to another field. And when it's harvesting time, the same happens. And then there is a feast, there is celebration that takes place.
Yeah. That's it.
So that's where I am. I don't know what you would like to take this conversation, Dumi, and I'm not sure how we're doing with time or where we are with our offering.
Yeah, Tracy just reminded us we have, I think we're good for time. We have, we can take a few comments, discussion issues. Anyone who wants to come in, Tracy, you manage that? Or should we take questions in chat? Or want people to unmute themselves and come on and speak?
Okay, maybe what I'd like to do is just to play something that's gonna ground this sharing, and then we'll allow for people to ask questions or share their reflections.
Please proceed. It's not, I see it's not clear. It's not coming clear, the sound.
Hi, Tommy.
Yeah. Tracy, can you come? Just let us know.
Yeah, I'm not hearing the sound either.
Not hearing the sound.
No, it's not coming. It's not coming up here.
And now? You hear it?
Yes. Like to take some questions now. Oh, Tracy,
Yes,
you monitoring?
I have invited people to put some questions in the chat. And I just wanted to share what came up for me as we were talking about civilization. And I was just thinking that it's almost like we've really been moving away from civilization. We've been congratulating ourselves and patting ourselves on the back for this modern society that we have, but I feel like we're becoming less and less civilized by disconnecting from each other, from the earth. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. It's something that stood out for me so strongly as you were speaking, Nobantu.
Yeah. What is civilization in the Ubuntu way, in the indigenous African wisdom?
It's being human.
Yeah. Or being humane with an E. Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, Nobantu.
Yes. Which is Ubuntu. It's actually taking ourselves out and forgetting ourselves so that we can remember, be together and remember others, such that we can be one with the other, such that there can be non-duality.
Yeah.
You become one with the other. There's no othering. You become one with nature, the trees, the mountains, the rivers, the values, the fire, all the elements start to run through you.
That's beautiful, and it's what we strive for in the coaching space, but extending that to all of life for all of us would be wonderful. Would love anyone to put any reflections or questions in the chat. We can take them up here.
Yeah. Sis Nobantu, a quick comment on the music and the sound. Komal just wrote something in the chat that says it brings certain feelings and sensations in his body as he listens to it. You would like to comment on that, on sound and part of music and sound in the African indigenous knowledge systems?
Yes. As African people, we are grounded in the body. Our wisdom comes from the body. That's why when we grieve, when we are happy, when we are joyful, music and dancing is part of us. And as we dance, as we sing, we can get into a trance. And that's when and where we actually help with regulating the nervous system. Because when we get threatened, the amygdala that's threatened, all that adrenaline, cortisol is lodged in the body. So you find that through that natural dance, song, jumping, this somatic experiencing helps to deal with trauma. I'm quite surprised, actually, to me, now that you ask about that. I've been on a lot of international forums looking at the COVID and the devastation as a result, the grief, the pain. And I was surprised by how positively or how much resilient you find the African people take this more than if you look at other cultures. And I'm thinking of South Africa when people were forcibly removed from places of their ancestors, places of their families, the lineage of their families, and they were placed in other areas or locations such that the white people can have those places. If you think about Meadowlands, people were moved to Meadowlands, and instead of resisting and kicking, a song was formed about Meadowlands. And they started to call this new place they didn't know, my darling. Meadowlands, 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 sithandwa sam. Utlowutlwa mahua ari eko Meadowlands. That's a place of pain. That's a place of people being dislodged from their homes.
Uprooted.
Of people becoming depressed, there was a song, let us embrace this new emergence that is presenting itself in front of us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sis Nobantu. That's beautiful. It's just that song now is going to stay with me. How do you tap into the inner energy in Ubuntu way? How does that translate to our becoming one with the universe? That's a question from Vinita. Thanks, Vinita.
Can you repeat that question to me?
How do you tap the inner energy in Ubuntu way? Inner energy, I'm sure he's referring to the inner energy of the person. How does that translate to our becoming one with the universe? Tapping into the inner energy and connecting to our inner self.
I think what I've found works well is this connection to our intuition. And with that, you find that we allow emergence. For instance, if you look at our language, there are concepts that just come from a person feeling something, and then a concept would be formed from that. And if you're thinking about it, to me, when an African child is born, the umbilical cord is not thrown away. That umbilical cord, that's what connects the child to the ancestors. And then what we do with that umbilical cord, it's buried in the ground. So that is a grounding way of this child to know that this element, the earth element, grounds us. It connects us to the universe. And hence, when you even are going to perform a ceremony, you use water to clear. You burn the sage because the air as well is part of the elements, and fire is always. So it's that connection to nature, to the universe, and through that, when we look at foreigners, we look at visitors, we open-handed, we have open arms for everyone that is visiting.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And Cindy says there is always a collective connectedness in singing, and you bring back the memory of Meadowlands. Yeah, that touches every South African. Most South Africans would relate to that. Yeah, and something, Nobantu, around how we raise children the Ubuntu way. Would you like to reflect on that very briefly? On preparing ground for the children. You mentioned the umbilical cord that's being buried, being grounded. What else do we ground and teach children? Something about starting early to see others as fellow humans to walk the life journey with.
If you're thinking about when you were growing up, Dumi, you would find, especially in villages, when it's time for eating, then the kids would gather together. They would be sharing a big dish of food and eating together. And there's a story as well. A sociologist and anthropologist was in Africa, I think in West Africa. And what she did, she took a bunch of sweets, put these sweets under a tree, and close by there was a group of children that was playing. And then this sociologist said to the kids, okay, here are the sweets. Raise yourselves. When I say on your marks, get set, goes, let's see who runs the fastest to get first to the sweets. And then she went on to say, on your marks, get ready, go, expecting the kids that they would be racing each other. Instead, what those children did was to hold hands, went together to the tree, grabbed the sweets, and shared the sweets equally amongst themselves. And think about what kind of a leader that would be. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that's it. Imagine if we did that in business. Instead of grabbing everything or profits to ourselves, there's better, more equitable sharing of the world's riches. And, you know, yeah, that's another topic for another day.
Exactly.
Yeah, such a beautiful example, Nobantu. I love it. And I see that others are saying the same thing. Camille says, love this story, so beautiful. Absolutely, Camille. It's a powerful, powerful story that, and it illustrates really the spirit and essence of Ubuntu, starting early. We need to bring this into the education system and teach our children values of Ubuntu and the spirit of Ubuntu and emotional intelligence in our schools early on. But Ubuntu is the essence of being humane. Thank you, Sis Nobantu.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are we doing with time?
The world needs more of this. Tracy, you know, quickly pop in and see how we're doing.
We're still doing well for time. So far, we have a few more minutes for Q&A, if that works for everyone. Reflections.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Trace.
Thank you, Sis Nobantu. Another question, something around gender and men and women and the power and respect of women and the female energy and force in the home and in the community, in organizations, in the world, and thoughts on reflections on that you would like to share.
What I'd like to say, it's as much as it's believed worldwide that African women are the most oppressed, I would like to highlight the power of African women, even in polygamous relationships. Because if a man agrees with his wife that they are going to have another wife in their homestead, the wife cannot be taken or sought if the first wife has not agreed to that. So there's a negotiated process that first happens, and then undlunkulu, that is the homestead of the bigger wife, agrees. And it's amazing when you look at these polygamous relationships, how everything works like clockwork. There is a system that's clearly working there, with these families getting together, rearing their children, cooking together, and also making sure that everything is happening. And also, for instance, there are cultures, especially around the pondos, where you find that there would be this kind of relationship between the umakoti, that is the daughter-in-law, and the mother-in-law. And as you know, that most men from rural areas work in the cities, in the mining. So you find issues where the mother-in-law would understand that this makoti, this daughter-in-law, needs some companion. And some companionships lead up with this makoti, maybe bringing a child from outside the family, and that is acceptable because the husband would be told, well, you were not around.
Yeah.
So it's those things that when we look at it and we are not involved in these practices, we see only the negatives. And yet when you go deeper and see how organized that kind of relational aspect is, you get surprised about actually the power that those women have in those relationships.
And if you look around and look at most kingdoms across Africa and historically, the power of the woman in that, in every kingdom, the chieftainship, and it's traceable. You can see it, and it's very, even the recent story of King Mswati and the Queen Mother, who is still alive, and how she nurtured and protected him. And so you see this all around, power of woman in that, and female energy as powerful, and in some cases almost feared. So it's important to understand that.
And think about Queen Nandi and Ushaka.
Yes.
Think about Queen Zinga of Mozambique.
Yes.
How powerful she was, how strategic she was in organizing the armies and conquering and bringing civilization and fighting the colonization of the indigenous people of Mozambique.
Yeah, thank you. Nobantu, one more question. Mark says, how do you live Ubuntu, or live with Ubuntu values, with the more mundane aspects of daily life? So tips on how to be a person with Ubuntu on a daily basis in the hustle and bustle of life that we live within organizations, in business, in politics, in social life, social media. Quick reflections on that before we move on to the next one.
The only answer I would say to Mark, always move with your heart.
Oh yeah.
Touch base all the time with the heart. Listen to the heart. Listen to your belly. What is your intuition saying? Because I think what makes us not to be connected and to live the spirit of Ubuntu, it's because we stay in the head. We have to be intelligent. We have to be taken seriously. And yet we are just a speck of dust in the big scheme of things. Simplicity, Mark, simplicity, going back to basic, which is what this COVID has taught us. That all the things that we thought mattered no longer matter. But it's the heart, it's bringing the heart in whatever you do that brings others alive.
Wow. 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 And different value systems. Nessa came with a question on even with relationships when there are different value systems, how to navigate that. Thoughts on that, Noban?
I think for me, if you're looking at how we have been brought up, this acceptance of the other makes it easy to be malleable and not to be too rigid into your own self, into your own sense of self, into your values, into who you are, because Africans love to connect. Give an African an opportunity to connect, and they would connect fully. So there is that practice, maybe to a fault at times, because you find that the whip looms too larger than the individual. And I think for me, as much as these practices are amazing, I would love for us to start by being grounded a little bit into the self, who we are, because I find even connecting, it is more powerful when you are grounded in who you are and you know exactly who you are and you are confident.
Yeah. Okay. We are ready now, Nobantu, for our next piece of sound. Nobantu, I see Zogal.
Hello?
Yeah, I see Vagal. I mean, it's not clear.
Anifa.
Yeah, it's not clear. Just restart. Tracy, let me know if you hear it from your side. Clear. Restart from there.
I'd like to invite you through a journey of practicing guidance from animals, guidance that helps us to deal with traumas, with challenges, with issues that might seem to be insurmountable. I would like you for a second to bring to your awareness an issue that is a challenge for you. Not an issue that is too big or too frightening for you. Something that's challenging and you would like to transform that situation. It could be also a person that you're struggling with. A person that brings a dis-ease to you, a challenge to you, or it could be something that seems like a stumbling block, a stuckness that right now is not enabling you to cross and go over the edge. Just bring that to your awareness and become aware of what emotions this brings up for you. Become aware of the bodily sensations that you experience as you have this issue, this person, this darkness in your awareness. Gently place this issue, person, or darkness not too close to you, just a little distance to where you are. See it there, not too close. As you are looking at this issue and being with this issue that is out there, what are you experiencing in your body? What emotions, what thoughts are coming up for you? Just stay with that. Being fully with your experience whilst you have the awareness of this issue, this person, or this darkness. I would like to invite you to now see this issue, this person, this darkness to be an animal. What animal comes up for you? Is it a grizzly bear? Is it a pitiful mouse? Is it a hungry lion? Or is it a hissing snake? Whatever animal comes up to you, where the person, the issue was, just visualize this animal. What's this animal doing? What is this animal bringing up for you? What are you sensing in your body? What's happening in your emotional space? Just be with that And then I would like you to imagine yourself. What kind of an animal are you as you are dealing with that animal over there? And how is that animal over there reacting or responding to this animal that you are? For a moment, just open your perspective and take the perspective of that animal as that animal is dealing with the animal that you are. And now imagine that this issue, that this challenge, that this relationship that is not working could be transformed. What animal do you have to be in order to be in relationship with that animal, in order to transform this issue, in order to improve the relationship, in order to move from this stuck position? Just fully embrace this new animal that is emerging for you. As you now see that animal that was there with this emergent animal that you are, what are you noticing about the issue, the challenge, the relationship, or the stuckness? Just listen to your body. The body has got such a vast wisdom of its own. What's the wisdom of your body whispering to your ear? What are you sensing in your body? What's your heart telling you? How is your breathing rhythm? How is the beating of your heart right now? Just stay in this new transformed state and fully immerse yourself in this state. Be with what is arising for you in the here and now. What are you aware of? What do you know now from the wisdom of your body that you didn't know before? Animals are good companions that are all over to teach us the lesson of being humane and lessons about getting in touch with Ubuntu. Stay with these sensations, with this state. I would like to start to invite you to sense your legs, to sense your arms. Slowly open your eyes. Just look around the room where you are. Start to listen to the sounds as well. We appreciate and we are thankful for Mother Nature and all the animals, all the beings, seen and unseen, named and unnamed, for helping us to become who we're destined to be. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you, Sis Nobantu. As we transition into the last 15 minutes of our work together, what would you like us to be doing now? Open it up. What would you just guide us for the last piece from that beautiful practice session? Thank you. I wanted it to continue a little longer. It's getting into
Attachment to me.
True.
So I'd like people to reflect on that practice. How was that for you?
Tracy says that was such a gorgeous practice. And others are saying, namaste, thank you so much, namaste. And yeah, so let's share. Any comments? Maybe in the last piece, we can share briefly, what did you take? Where are you now? What are you feeling? Like Sis Nobantu asked, what is your body telling you? What are you saying in that? I see namaste. Nessa says, wow, that was a gorgeous practice. Yeah.
May I share a moment?
Yes, please, go ahead.
I'm a little emotional. What was really incredible about that is the issue that that came up for me was an issue that I've been having with myself. It's been my own awareness that I've been very negative about things. And so the animal that I was imagining was me. And what came up for me was this hound dog, that's been alternately running around in circles, but also being very mopey and being very negative. And then I realized who I needed to be with this animal was to show it love and guidance and some boundaries. And I guess that what came up for me is just how this practice can relate when it comes to ourselves and showing ourselves self-love. I wanted to ask for further guidance on that. It got a little confusing when I was thinking about what animal I needed to be versus the animal that was there, because both of them was me, but it still provided a beautiful shift for me. So just curious about that.
What I find, Tracy, if we're facing an issue, we somehow close ourselves up because we expect the other to transform. And we also become very ignorant of our own shadows. And when we start to look at what is it in me that causes that animal to be that way, and this animal that I am, that is, in cahoots, that animal, is that helpful? Then it's again around our proverbs that say, you cannot change that person over there. What shifts do you need to make in yourself, in this system, such that the other levels of the system are transformed?
Yeah, thank you. Hector says, there was so much of heaviness as I started. I think it means as the practice started. However, feeling beautiful and lighter now, feeling connected. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
And Kamal says, this has been like a divine intervention. I've been postponing this for some time, and I've been given the glimpse at times to be who I am. And this session brought it in all its glory to me. I know I'm going to take this step now. Wow. Wow. Kamal, thank you. That's opening up. Yeah. Kamal, would you like to unmute and say something, share something with Sis Nobantu? Okay. And Upasana says, beautifully connected to my inner self, my source. Thank you for that. And Vinita, lighter, connected, grounded. I imagined a dog with puppy eyes looking at me. Beautiful. Yeah.
I think Kamal is on screen.
Yes. Yes, Kamal, go for it. Unmute.
Sorry. Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Kamal.
Thank you so much for today's session. It's, yeah, I mean, I had a sense that there's something in today's session that I'm going to take away, but I didn't know that this will come to me in so much of clarity. So I'm really, really grateful to you, Nobantu, to use that animal spirit way of, looking at the whole thing, and that is really very powerful for me. I can see who I have to be, who I'm wanting to be from inside, and why I was resisting it so much. But it's so clear to me now that I'm in total awe and acceptance that yes, if that's who I have to be, and I'm going to do everything to become.
Yeah.
I feel you, Kamal. I feel you fully in me with the issue that you're dealing with. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so full right now. I can't speak much. It's
yeah. I feel it.
It's like something has lifted off my chest.
Thank you.
Wow. Something similar. Thank you, Kamal. Something similar. Nessa, would you like to come on? What you put in chat is beautiful. It speaks similarly to what Kamal just shared now. Would you like to come share that, Nessa?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I am going to do this without starting to cry again. Thank you so much. Such a unique experience. So it was interesting at the moment that it was guided to let the person or whatever it was take form. It was incredible. I've never had this experience before. It was incredible how it instantly shifted into this moving animal. And for me, this person, this relationship, it suddenly just went into a Black Panther, and it was, but it was graceful. It wasn't threatening. Yet, oh gosh, it was, even though it was non-threatening, I was aware of its power, but there was this distance between us. And it's interesting because when I put it away from me, I love, at my home in our backyard, I just love sitting there. I just find so much peace, literally sitting or laying in the grass. And so I found it interesting that that's where the panther was, and it was circling. And then when I became the animal, I became an animal that has never really come to reference before. I couldn't tell you what kind of, I know it was a kite, some kind of kite, this white, small white bird with pointy tail. And it was interesting, as the panther circled, I circled above, and my focus was purely on that panther as the kite. And the degree of separation was calm, it was peaceful, but the panther wasn't even looking at me, and I'm only focused on it. And I was behind the circle that I was flying above, was behind the circle that the panther was walking, which is incredibly profound as I've reflected on this. And then when I shifted into who I needed to be, I was just a bigger, more powerful bird. It was a hawk or an eagle. And they were only looking up, you know, and there was a peace. Sorry.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you.
really beautiful. It was really beautiful and super significant. So thank you so much for that.
I would like to end with this reflection. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled, from the peaks of the mountains, the long winding road, crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean, because only then will fear disappear, because that's where the river will know that it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming an ocean. My inquiry to you is, what leadership is called to emerge from this emergency we are facing ourselves? What do we need to be as leaders in order to meet this crisis and lead from the heart, bringing our souls forward? Namaste.
Siyabonga. That's Zulu for thank you. Siyabonga. Sis Nobantu. What a sacred space. Tracy?
Siyabonga. I hope I'm saying that properly. What an absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful 90 minutes that I've spent with you. Thank you so much to both of you for holding this beautiful space. and to everyone that has joined and shared their vulnerability and their reflections. And it's so, so valuable. So I posted a couple of links into the chat. One of them is there's a LinkedIn group that we can continue this conversation on. There's a lot that has come up for us. I know that I'll be sharing on there. So I wanted to invite everyone to please keep the conversation going. And there's a very small survey as well that would be very helpful for you to complete after this session. And again, thank you for this, for joining and caring and being a part of this wonderful event. As you know, there are 3 sessions per day. I will not quote times or anything like that because I get a little confused with the time zone, but the schedule is there on the website. And again, thanks for this beautiful space, everyone. Namaste.